Developers Connect. So thank you so much for coming. Ayun. So right now, we're here for the project management, and then Scrum methodology. So question, is this your first time trying the development?
Ayun. Alright, so for those first time, question, paano nyo nalaman yung iba na Facebook, others, so Facebook others, word of mouth from a friend, so Facebook, effective. Okay, so yun, so DevCon, what is DevCon? DevCon is a non-profit organization for the IT community. We do events with the developers, mostly developers talaga. Sometimes we do events for startups as well. And then, what we do is that we empower the developers. So, just like code camps, other code camps on DevCon would be, let's say, Android, iOS, and BlackBerry. So, Python. So, yun, we do things like that. So, mga ganitong audience na din, mga around 30 yung target. And then, other things we do is campus DevCon. What we do in campus DevCon is that may mga speakers tayo, tapos we inform them with the latest trends in the IT industry. So, aside from what they learn in school, we try to connect them with the people, with the experts from the industry, para kasi malaman nila ano talaga yung nangyayari sa industry. May idea sila, ganyan pala nangyayari sa industry. That's what we need to know. So, that's basically what DevCon is. And right now, I'd like to introduce to you our partner, the host of our event, the CEO of Orange and Bronze. Please help me welcome Sir Calvin.
Okay, hi guys, welcome to Orange and Bronze. We do Java, we do Agile, we're one of the early adopters at the very beginning of 2005. We're one of the very earliest adopters of Agile software development, of which Scrum is one of the methodologies in the family of Agile practices. So yun, welcome. I hope I've known Glenn Canlas for a while. And nagpukulitan kami sa Facebook. So, I'm sure you'll learn a lot. He's definitely one of the foremost advocates of the better practices in management. So, I'm sure you'll learn a lot here. And keep in touch with the events of DevCon. And too bad you can't attend the event going on downstairs with Google Developers Group. But we're also doing what we can to support what GDG is doing and the other developer communities. So it's nice to have you here and enjoy your time.
Thank you, Calvin. And now for our next speaker, I'd like to introduce you. For this quarter, we just had our, how do you call this? Our first platinum diamond partner of the year. So I'd like to introduce you. Sino pala sa inyo familiar with Amanda? So I'd like to introduce to you the country manager of freelancer.com. They're our first diamond partner for the year, and we're so happy with that because without them, we couldn't fund our events. Alright. And then here, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Joji Azrin, country manager of freelancer.com, to give insights on how the opportunities of freelancer.com that we can offer to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm George Yesunin, and it's always a pleasure attending these tech events, especially with DevCon. And para I can customize my, who's familiar with freelancer that? Okay, sige, thank you. I'll just try to be very brief with it. I'll be skipping some slides now, but we are the world's largest online marketplace for outsourcing. So anything, coding, writing, translation, basically services, and it's 600 categories. We have 600 categories, and this is a very good opportunity for you guys. You have the skills, you just need clients, you just go here. That's it. No need to do any more marketing, but just register with our site. This funny thing is, this slide is kind of ancient and it's only 2 weeks old. We just hit the 8.1 kahapon, million. A few days ago, I think July 1, we had 8 million members worldwide. And we have 300,000 Filipinos. 4 months ago, we only have 187. And for the past 4 months, there was just a deluge of Filipinos signing up. Of course, a good portion of them is why we have one, because we've been sponsoring events like this, but we just got 60% increase in the past 4 months. And my personal dream of having 1 million Filipinos being members is nearing reality. It's my personal opportunity. I would like to invite you to check out and start looking at the earnings potential. Again, we've awarded more than $1.1 billion. For you guys, I think you have to know, it's very important for you to know that for us as an online marketplace site, we have the office here. Majority of the employees of freelancer.com is here. We have 2 floors. We have close to 300 employees in Ayala, and we have a large engineering group. And masasabi ko, gawang Pinoy ang freelancer.com because everything is done here. And the few executives, few dozen executives are all in Sydney, and everybody else is here. So that's very important for us to send you that message because we believe in the Filipinos' capability. So nandito kami 24/7 hub, email support, chat support, sales, creative, relations, mga relations. Everybody is here. Everything is being done here in Manila. Again, just to give you an idea, this famous online economy, this changes every hour. Because we have so much analytics, the red means where the projects are coming from. Sorry, you can see. Where the projects are coming from. And the green is where the projects are ending up. Kung saan ina-outsource. And obviously, it's in Asia. Look at the green. And you can see the silhouette of the world, right? So, ang dream ko, mag-increase ng madami sa Philippines. Now that we're approaching 1 million. Because right now, there are 1 million Indian members. No? So, this hence the blog here. There's also East Europe. But increasingly, nagkakaroon ng kalaban, Italy, Spain, and Greece. Dumaming green in the past few months. You know why? The economy sucks right now. 24% of those people in those 3 countries, 24% unemployment. So where do they go? Sign up sila sa freelancer. Online is the only place for them to get projects. They don't have any jobs in their country. So it's very nice here, something like this. But again, the reason is, we'd like to see more green in the Philippines. Profile namin is 46% youth. We're seeing a lot of students getting freelance jobs to pay for their tuition or to pay for their gimmicks and gadgets. And increasingly, but the bulk of the high fees, the ones that are earning $1,000 per project, $3,000 per project, or even $5,000 to $8,000 per project, are the ones who are very skilled, like high-end programmers, architects, high-end graphics designers, like developing 3D projects. These are the ones that taking those big fees. And for you guys, you don't have to fight it out among the low-end coding projects or writing or data encoding. I see yourselves as the ones who potentially earning those types of fees. No? And just to give you an idea, again, Quezon City, Metro Manila are the biggest, but the rest will be Cebu, CDO, Pilipinan, Davao. But what we're seeing is our top freelancers, more than half are outside of Metro Manila. Kasi mas focus sila. Dito ang daming distractions. So, we have other freelancers earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And a lot of them are outside Metro Manila. And again, what we see the low end, the copywriting, the coding, PHP programming, these are the majority of the projects that are being outsourced to the Philippines. But it doesn't mean that you will come here because mas maraming dito laban. We suggest go towards very, very niche skills like Python, Ruby on Rails, BlackBerry, or 3D, or professionals like accounting, engineering, architecture. Those are the ones that are really getting the high prices, but not necessarily the big pie. It's okay kasi kung konti lang naman kayo if you're there. The bulk is probably 36% of what's coming from the US, Australia, but increasingly, and that's what we're going to do, increasingly, Philippine companies. Lumabas yan, nagulat na lang kami in the past few months. 3% now are from Philippine companies using our platform and outsourcing because they're telling us, nahihirapan din sila kumuha ng skills at ayaw din muna, it's one-time project. So, they're increasingly going to freelancers.com and we're going to do programs and campaigns to invite a lot of the top 1,000 Philippine companies to use our platform. And what's good about it is because gusto nila siyempre Pilipino yung outsource, hindi sa India. So it's good news for Filipino freelancers here. It just got sample lang to kasi nga it's very graphical. Like, t-shirts like $100 design or that's being outsourced in freelancer. What's sample ko? Okay, one sample lang is like we have 4,000 jobs available every day. So there's so much to choose. Maraming kalaban, pero just try to focus on it. I'll just give you an example. Like a few days ago, we have BlackBerry projects, 25 projects for that day. Remote installation of GPS tracking for those who stolen phones. Someone's paying $1,500. The bid is average $1,500, and there were around 3 bidders at that time. So it's bidding, but it's not the lowest bid. It's a combination of good price and your track record. So it's very important you have good track record within freelancer because as you collect clients rate you up to 5 stars. They also give testimonials. So the more testimonials you have, the income sources will increase. Mind you, we have a lot of Filipino freelancer millionaires, and this one is Android and mobile. Again, different. I just got a sample lang of some of the potential projects that we can have for our freelancers. I'll just keep here because I'm just saying lang that everything's digitized. You can do. This is one sample of a profile for a freelancer. Okay, we suggest a nice photo, professional one, smiling one, like him, and start collecting clients, start collecting testimonials, like getting reviews. Has a reputation of 4.8 out of 5. That's a very good one. Or you can hire him for our basic $12. He's doing 3D graphics. He has collected, next page is getting badges. We have exams. If you know BlackBerry, Python, you can write. We have certification exams and you start collecting badges because customers would say na, okay, you know BlackBerry because freelancer.com certified you to know BlackBerry. So that's very, very important. And again, we have competitions, we pay out competitions. If you think you're a rockstar programmer, July 20, please sign up before. We have an online contest, and then there's a physical contest for those who are finalists. We're giving away 100,000 pesos for the best programmer. So don't forget, it's in challenge. The site is challenge.freelancer.com. No? So we're inviting you to join that contest. And then if you're very good in graphics, we're also paying $10,000 if you create a very nice freelancer.com commercial. It will be amateur. It's an amateur video or whatever, but we're paying $10,000. A lot of Filipinos are creating videos, no? And they want to win that $10,000. It's worldwide. It's a worldwide competition. Now, if you think you don't have a chance because you're Filipino, that's not true. Last year, we had a logo contest, 300,000 pesos for somebody from Davao, competing against all the other freelancers around the country. So, signing up is very, very easy since you are eternally online sa Facebook. You go to Freelancer, sign up, one click with Facebook, then you're registered. That's how we can see this. And if you have any questions, just call me. And once again, welcome to this seminar, and looking forward to see you online. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. That was very useful actually. Dami ko natutunan. Tapos, right now, ayan, to start the question, ayan, gulo ko pa sa akin. Anyway, right now, I'd like to introduce to you our trainer for the afternoon. Okay. Sorry. Ayun. So I'd like to introduce to you our trainer for the afternoon. He is an IT and innovation consultant for various organizations that include the World Bank, ADB, San Miguel, Intel, and Globe Telecom. He made the switch to agile software development after 15 years of doing traditional project management. He has an MS in Information Technology from Carnegie Mellon University, an MBA from the Ateneo Graduate School of Business. He studied broadcast communications at the University of the Philippines. Guys, please help me welcome our trainer, Mr. Ruben D. Cablas Jr.
Thank you, Haika. First, ulitin ko yung informal survey ko. So, sino sa inyo nakapag-Scrum na or doing Scrum right now? Raise your hands. Oh, good. Okay. Nag-open dito kayo. Okay. Who is doing any form of Agile? Any form of Agile, okay, of course. Do I need to speak in English? Wala na yung kanina. So, everyone speaks Filipino? Okay na? Raise your hand if you can understand.
I don't speak English.
I can. Sige. Okay. Originally, this was supposed to be an hour long talk or 30-minute talk. Tapos I can make it a project management course. Sabi ko, I will make it a project management course, but it has to be, Agile Scrum. Kasi I've come to realize that traditional project management is no longer applicable or tenable or useful for software development. And I'll explain to you shortly. So, what we're going to do, and this is always the challenge when I'm introducing Scrum to people, is balancing between giving you just enough so you can start your own Scrums. At the same time, also explaining the principles behind Scrum. So, going deep so that you understand why we're doing the things we're doing in Scrum. So, what we're going to do now is a mix of games and theory. So the games that we're going to and activities that we're going to do will be our take-off point so that you can learn why we're doing Scrum. Okay? So before I start, I would like to ask you guys, does anyone here have a question right now about Scrum? Aside from the question, what is Scrum? Okay? Does anyone here have a question right now about Scrum? Those who are doing Scrum, or you guys? Sure. Oh, kung wala pa kayong question, why are you here? Just kidding. Okay. I will start with this quote from General Dwight Eisenhower. Do you know him? He's a general, one of the famous generals during World War II. He said, "Plans are nothing, planning is everything." Okay, parang, what do you mean by that? Okay. Someone asked General Eisenhower about the importance of plans in going to combat. And he said, "Plans are nothing, planning is everything." What he meant by it was that you cannot go to war if you don't plan ahead. So first you need to plan, right? But when you go to the combat zone, be prepared to throw away your plan and adjust to what's happening on the ground in the real world. And this, I think, sums up the difference between agile and traditional project management. Okay. Do you recognize this chart? It's called a Gantt chart. It was developed if I'm not mistaken, in the 1930s. So it's an old tool. How many of you still use Gantt charts? Si Joe, by the way, is a schoolmate of mine from Carnegie Mellon also. He teaches in Mokua. So, like Heiko was saying, by now I've been using, I was using traditional project management, including Gantt charts, for about by now 20 years. And then I decided to abandon it. When we were using Gantt charts, I remember one of these projects that had 3,000 activities. So an activity is one row, right? 3,000 activities on it. And we had to print it. And it filled a whole wall. Kasi if you print it naman na tiny na font, you can't read it naman. So we printed it, and because it had 3,000 lines, when you spot an error, oh, this deadline is wrong, ganyan, or this dependency we forgot, you have to reprint the whole thing all over again kasi everything else moves, diba? You can't just print the thing that the page that you changed. So we assigned one person working about siguro 50% of his time doing nothing but updating the Gantt chart and then printing it out. Imagine the number of dead trees used for the Gantt chart. Okay? So we spent so much time just arguing about the Gantt chart, what to put in there, etc., only to make it irrelevant once we printed it out and once we started doing the project. So what we did was every week let's review it and then let's print out the latest update. It was so wasteful because the printing itself took time, the updating itself took time, and if you work with MS Project, when you do this, it moves. It's too smart, it's too intelligent, so very, very confusing. So that's Gantt chart for you. Agile actually discourages the use of a Gantt chart. The pioneers of Agile software management said we are wasting too much effort on a plan when we could just spend that effort into developing working software. Does that make sense? But instead of meeting and arguing about the Gantt chart for like a week, let's use that week to start developing the software. Okay, so more on that later on. So here's our outline for today. What is Scrum? And then the principles behind Scrum, we're going to imbibe them. So that hopefully when you guys are starting Scrum and you have a question, go back to the principles and say, this is why we're doing it. Maybe we can change it this way. You can flex a bit. And of course, how to increase the success when you are shifting to Scrum. There's going to be a lot of resistance, for example, and a lot of backsliding towards traditional project management. Okay. So I wanted to begin with, I want to ask you guys, everyone here knows what the Amazing Race is? Amazing Race. Okay, teka. Iba yung title ko rito. So, Amazing Race, what do people do in the Amazing Race? So there are challenges, and people have to race around the world, but you never know what the challenge is. You just have a general notion that you're going to travel around the world, but you never know where you're going, your precise destination until you get there. Okay, that's the Amazing Race. Sorry, it should not be constructing a building. Let me replace it. It should be group tour. How many of you have gone to a group tour, like sa Singapore, yung mga ganon? Okay, what do you do naman sa group tour? Yes?
Go to your destinations for the...
So, in a group tour, you have a tour guide and he or she plans your destination and you know where to go. Diba? And you go as a group, you go from one destination to another. So, I would like you now to group together, groups of 4, okay? So your seatmates na that. And then discuss the differences between a group tour, so planning or working in a group tour versus traveling in when you're doing an Amazing Race na style. No? So can you just quickly discuss that now. And then, I asked for pieces of paper. Introduce yourselves, each other. Give me next slide. Right down here. I'll explain mamaya kung ano yung Okay, so I distributed to you index cards for your groups and a pen. What you're going to do is, in one index card, put one item na comparing the two, difference or similarity. So for example, in a group tour, we know the destination. In Amazing Race, we don't know. So write that down in the index card. Okay, tapos and then proceed to other differences between the two. Okay? You have any questions? Yes. As many as you can, one index card, one difference. Yes. One difference, one index card, as many as you can. Siguro tatlo per group. Think of 3 differences per group. So, huwag nila sabihin yung sinabi ko na I said, you know the destination in group tour, in Amazing Race, you don't know. So, that's already important. The newcomers, please just join any of the teams. You have to split up. So, things that you can think about include, for example, ano ang differences sa strategy, sa preparation, what happens when there's an emergency, diba? How would you react if there's an emergency in a group tour versus what happens if you get lost, if you lose your way in a group tour compared to Amazing Race. Okay? Just write down 3 or 4 differences. Then I'll give you about 10 minutes to do it. Tapos I'll count down. So there's 8 minutes left. 8 minutes. Another clue, another hint. Think about anong classic skill or knowledge you need comparing the two. What knowledge do you need in a group tour versus in or a skill? What skill do you need? Certainly, for example, you don't have to be able to read maps. Yeah, so you can think about this. Anong skills na kailangan sa group tour versus Amazing Race? Five more minutes, so better start writing down sa index cards. Think also about what happens in an emergency. What do you do in a group tour versus in Amazing Race? And last clue, what is the decision-making style in a group tour versus in Amazing Race? Who makes decisions? 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Ayan. Yung mga newcomers just join any of the teams now discussing. So, yun, makikiscuss kayo. Okay, please wrap up. Stick dun sa index cards nyo, may I distributed masking tape. So stick masking tape dun sa index card para we can post them sa wall. So we're going to post them na lang dito sa okay, time's up. Pencils up. I'm going to go around to ask kung ano mga sagot nyo. Give me one answer lang. So hold up your index card, okay? Let's start with, imbalance in the force. So, dito lang yung ladies. Okay. Diba? Dapat na-distribute kayo. Let's start with Sunny. Sunny, okay. Everybody listen na muna please. Sunny, read one.
One person leads the group. The main phase is
so in a group tour, there's one person who leads the group. That's probably the tour guide, And then sa Amazing Race, it's a team effort, kanya-kanya. Then you post it sa wall. Okay. This group, Owen, okay.
Sa akin, sa group tour, under sila structured approach.
Okay.
Sa Amazing Race, non-structured approach.
What do you mean by structured and non-structured?
Since ang group tour, nakaset na kasi yung itinerary nila. So, from the beginning, alam nila kung saan sila pupunta, ano sila kakain, parang gano'n. So, sa Amazing Race, hindi.
So structured meaning may clear na itinerary or there's a plan, diba? And sa Amazing Race, medyo flexible, adaptable. Okay, so paki-post please doon. Kaya para mabasa. Okay, dito. Who wants to answer? Erwin.
Sir, sa race, Sir, yung sa, ano po, sa RIS, during ng tour, low lang po, kasi pwedeng, hawak mo yung oras ko kasi. So, pwede ka mag-adjust kasi na-plan mo siya. So, in RIS, sa Amazing Race, magkamali ka na ng isang beses, it will,
Pwede ka maiwan.
Pwede ka maiwan or
Accident.
accident.
Okay. So in a group tour, since medyo planado at merong expert actually, no? alam ng guide, tour guide or tour manager, mas mababa ang risk. Sa Amazing Race, you don't know kasi what will happen, so mas mataas ang risk. Same thing with yung degree of uncertainty. Mas mababa ang uncertainty na group tour kasi alam mo na kung saan ka pupunta. Sa Amazing Race, mas mataas ang uncertainty. You don't know what will happen. Okay, thank you. Tapos na kayo, no? Dito, sino gusto? Joey, okay.
So, yung for the group tour, typically, predefine na yung budget. So, babayaran mo na siya of 100 kasama na lahat doon. As compared to the Amazing Race, meron siyang money na ibigay sa'yo, pero it's up to you how you will spend that.
Okay. Thank you. So, sa group tour, meron pang predefined budget. Nagbayad ka ng one time. Sa Amazing Race, actually, pareho naman in a way, pero you're free to, mas flexible yung pag-spend mo ng budget sa Amazing Race. But in a way, fixed siya. Bibigyan kita ng $300, bahala ka na sa pag-gastos. Sa group tour, hindi. Bibigay mo kay tour leader, kay tour manager. Si tour manager na mag-decide, okay, yung $50 na to pang museum natin, pamasahin natin sa bus, etc. Whereas kay Amazing Race, the people themselves, the participants are the ones who decide on their budget. Okay. Please, paki-write down sa pen to pen. Stick natin doon. No? O dito, last but not least. Ay, tapos na ba? Hindi ba kaya? So, sino? Richard?
Ano yung difference? Siguro with regards to emergency yung binabanggit mo. Pag sa group tour may nasaktan, nasisira yung plano. So, showstopper siya in a way. Doon sa Amazing Race, if one gets hurt or more than one gets hurt, they have no choice. They have to suck it up. Maybe apply a temporary solution, pero the show must go on.
So, in a group tour, pag may emergency, it's a showstopper. Sa Amazing Race, the show must go on. Actually, pareho naman. In a group tour, the show must go on pa rin. Except that, in a group tour, pagka nagkaroon ng problema, who do you turn to? Si tour manager, si tour leader, di ba? Pero sa Amazing Race, you can't. You have to do it, so you have to make your own decisions. So parang you have to handle a crisis yourself. Okay? So sige. Okay, post. Okay. So, is there anyone else wants to add na hindi pa masyadong na-discuss na you think is an important difference? Any other group wants to add to yung difference between Amazing Race and group tour? Na tingin nyo hindi pa na-discuss at kailangan discuss. Yes?
Yeah.
Chair.
Another difference with group tour and Amazing Race is energy.
Okay.
For group tour, you don't need parang more energy, just normal energy na exert mo. While for Amazing Race, you need to be fit and capable. So that means high energy.
So, in terms of energy, mataas ang energy kailangan sa Amazing Race, sa group tour. Not too much. Siguro yung vitamins niya pag kailangan. But you can also post it. Okay. Good. Very good, guys. Okay. So, like I said, yung elements ng agile development are already within us. We just don't know na yun pala yung ginagawa natin. So, we just want to draw them out. Here's what I came up with. In terms of goal, kay Amazing Race, you only have a vague idea of kung saan ang finish line and the destination. You know them when you get there, sasabihin sa'yo, slowly ma-reveal by answering the clues. That also makes yung uncertainty, yata nakalagay dito, yung degree of uncertainty ng Amazing Race is higher than in a group tour. Ito example sa Europe do tayo group tour. The details are known beforehand and then the itinerary is likely to be followed. We have a clear plan and we follow that itinerary. Sa group tour, the strategy is make a plan but be ready to abandon that plan. Okay? Whereas in the group tour, we have to stick to the itinerary. Because when we deviate from the itinerary, it disrupts everything. Diba? So we won't get there sa group tour if we don't stick to the itinerary. In Amazing Race, we have to be ready to adapt to the situation. Okay. So you could see now an emerging trend in the comparison. In terms of coping with uncertainty, mga surprises, in Amazing Race, the teams discover new details every leg of the race. Di ba? May mga leg of the race yan per continent or per country. And then there are regular pit stops that allow teams to assess and course correct. Si JR mentioned kanina, we also need energy. Di ba? The pit stops actually help you to recharge and then get better at what you're doing. Examine what happened and then let's get better or improve our strategy. In Europe Group Tour, you just rely on the tour leader. Tama ba yan? When something happens, ask the tour leader, where are we going next? How much is this going to cost? And decision making, of course, Amazing Race, the teams are empowered and self-organizing. While in the group tour, decisions are made mostly by the tour leader. You can say, oh, I want to go to Hong Kong Disneyland, but this Disneyland is not part of the tour that you bought. You can't, because if you're going to do that, it's going to frustrate the other members of the group tour. But in Amazing Race, actually, if that's where you need to go, you can go there. Okay, so comparing Amazing Race, which of the two do you think is closer to Agile? Obvious. Sa first letter pala, Amazing Race and Agile. So Amazing Race and Scrum, let's compare. In terms of goal, we just have a big idea. It's a global race. In Scrum, we have what we call a product vision. We have a clear notion of what the product should be and what it should deliver, but we don't know yet the details. And we will get to the details as we look into the product itself, as we go into the software development. So we have such a thing called the product backlog. So some of you already know this. The product backlog is your list of features, and we call the list of features the user stories. So this one contains a feature list, but very, very coarse-grained. Meaning, right now they're very vague. Kasi we only know that, for example, I want to develop an app that crowdsources traffic information in Metro Manila. Diba? I know what the app wants to deliver, but I don't know the specifics. I don't know the interface. I don't know, diba? I don't know how it will look like, what the internals are. I don't even know what the database structure will look like. But I know that I want to develop an app whose end goal is to crowdsource traffic information all over Metro Manila. So that is the product vision. And then the backlog would contain something like, this should be able to run in iOS and Android. Diba? Very, very general pa yan. It should be able to run in iOS and Android. It should allow users to report incidences of traffic in real time. Diba? And then, let's say, probably, or a user can opt to monitor his movements. Meaning, for example, it will have a start button when I leave my home, and it will have a stop button when I reach my office. And then it will auto-time the time it took for me to reach my destination and will report it to a central server. So very, very large features that could be broken down later. But it lays out where my product is headed. Okay. Next, how to reach the goal. In Amazing Race, That large goal is broken into several legs, which we call iterations. Okay, in general, in Agile, we call one short development activity as an iteration or a sprint. Right? It could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, up to 4 weeks. That's the recommended amount of sprint. We gather everyone, then we do a sprint, and then we review our output, and then we go to the next sprint. So we finish it sprint by sprint. Each sprint actually delivers an output, which in Scrum or in Agile we call it a shippable or deployable product. Meaning, this has been tested, and you can actually release it to the users, and it's going to work. No minor bugs. If it's a login feature, the validation should already be built in. It's been tested for any eventuality, that's security probably built into it, and you could release it to the users for use. Okay? So this is one major difference with traditional project management. The learning method is here. We discover new clues or new features or new quirks in the system as we develop it. In traditional kasi, we assume that we know everything at the start. Diba? Tawag nila one big upfront planning. Big upfront planning. Meaning, we first try to predict what the features are. We keep on refining and arguing about that. And then we create this 500-page document outlining the user requirements. We used to do this. We used to take a month just to create that user requirement document. Okay? So that's in the traditional method. In Scrum, we only have a very general notion, that's the product vision and the product backlog. And then we discover each detail as we move along into the sprint. So if our sprint is 2 weeks long, every 2 weeks we discover more detail into the product. Am I making sense so far? No, instead of one big upfront planning at the start, we break that planning down into regular iterations or sprints. The way to adapt to surprises, Scrum is actually more welcoming to change. So those of you who are doing traditional project management now, what do you do when a user has a change request?
File siya ng change request.
Ano?
Magpa-file siya ng change
File a change request form. And then what happens next, Mr. Bibit?
Diba? Dadaan sa analyst. Dadaan sa analyst, analyze, then
Tapos
negotiate yung schedule.
May contractual negotiation pa yan, and the impact sa budget, sa schedule, we will reset the deadline to ganyan-ganyan. There's a whole big process of it. Who's actually, kasi I studied also PMI, so PMBOK. In fact, sinasabi sa amin ng teacher namin, the whole point of that process is to stop change, because change is costly. Diba? I'm sure narinig nyo na to, no? If there's a change request, make it known to the client na it's going to cost them and it's going to move the deadline. That's the traditional approach. Whereas in Scrum, we actually welcome the change. Because since we break it down into sprints, every time there's a change, you just plan it into the sprint and you develop it. Okay? So I experienced this actually in some of my clients. We had a very combative relation. Magkaaway yung client and the developer. To a point na everyone dreaded to attend meetings. Because papagalitan ng client, yung development team, why didn't you do it the way I wanted you to do it? Yeah. And the development team, maasar sa client. There was a point in time dati na I would avoid the client when my phone was ringing. I would dread answering that phone call because it would probably be an irate client. This is personal experience. And then in my personal experience, this particular client, very, very difficult client, in the middle of the project, we decided, let's switch to Scrum. And the client said, what's Scrum? So we explained to them. And then they had their doubts. But I promised to them, it's going to be better actually. It's a better method. of getting your requirements. Because this client in particular tended to throw in new features. While the people were developing the software, he would call and say, by the way, when we have an event, we need this feature right away. So this client kept on throwing new features and expecting every week that we would change and develop those features. And in the end, he would always ask us, but where were the original features that I asked you to develop? Yeah. And we would tell that client, but you asked us to develop something else. So we didn't have any time to develop the original plan. Also, and then we would have these fights. So we shifted to Scrum. And when we shifted to Scrum, this same client started praising the development team actually. And said, now you are more responsive and happier, and he extended the contract. So that's one major change we went through. So adapting to surprises, the team makes its own decision, whereas in traditional project management, who makes the decisions? It's the project manager. It's not even the client, it's the project manager. The client says, the deadline was moved from August to end of July. The project manager says, no, our original plan is August, so we can't deliver by July. And then the project manager says, you have to negotiate the contract again, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so in Scrum, when that happens, the team says, okay, but here is what we can, since you are telling me the deadline has been moved, give us now your priority. So we're still putting back the decision to the client. Okay, yeah. Any questions so far? Yes.
Thanks to comment what you said earlier regarding developers communicating.
Developers attending
A meeting. Personally, my preference is not to allow developers to meet directly with the client.
Yeah. That's part of traditional project management. The PM should shield the development team from the client.
Not really shield, but somehow it would disappoint in some parts to the part of the developer.
True.
They have to go again and make changes to. We're already halfway there, and it's gonna take a huge bomb, blowing everything what we developed and
True.
going from scratch.
True.
And it's the job of the project manager, I think, to really prioritize things and put things on queue and put it on the pipeline.
True. So hold on to that thought and think about that. They're saying the project manager's job is to prioritize what to do. So hold on to that thought because I have an answer later on when we discuss the roles. But Scrum has an answer for that. So I can assure you that's a problem that's been solved actually. Okay. Next. Good question. So I want you guys now to play another game, but this time this is a bigger game. So I need you to move the chairs into the side so we can make a big space in the middle. So this is the 1 point game. I can help you run that. Okay. 1 point game is a game that is played with, guess what? Lots of balls, right? I have here a bag of balls. And you guys, please stand up. Please stand up. You guys are one big group. Okay? And your object is to pass the ball from one to the other, but you are not allowed to pass it to the guy next to you, meaning your left or right. And a ball must have, quote-unquote, air time. You don't pass it by handing it off. It has to float in the air. That's air time. Okay? So, yeah. The start point should be your end point. So designate, well, I will flex this a bit, designate a starting point and an ending point as one big group. There can be many balls at the starting point. Those are the many balls. And any ball that goes through the team without being dropped counts as 1 point. Any that goes through the whole group without being dropped counts as 1 point. So my tip is, once you drop a ball, ignore it. Okay? Because when it's dropped, you can't put it back. It won't be counted. I will give you one iteration for now, which will last for 2 minutes, and I will time it out. Okay? I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare, to strategize, and I will also time it. When I say stop, you stop planning. Okay? So, question. So
if somebody drops the ball,
when you drop a ball, it's no longer counted. So I recommend don't spend any effort.
to continue.
Just, no. When you drop it, wait for the ball to come to you. Because there's only one starting point there. So wait for another ball to be passed on to you. Okay? So, I'll give you 1 minute, designate a start point, which is also equal to the end point. Okay? Ready? 1 minute? Starts now. Better plan. Go.
Then you starting point, ending point.
2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to prepare. Go. Plan.
Starting point, ending point.
Start moving, guys. Wait. This is just planning time. It's not just an iteration. Okay? So a ball must pass through all of the people in the team. Okay?
And the starting point and ending point.
Yes. It depends on you guys to strategize. So these are the rules that I told you. I will only count the balls that are properly grouped. Okay, if they're around the floor, I won't count them. So you have to designate a collection point. 1 minute gone. 1 more minute left. The ball must go through everyone here in the group.
Maybe like a shoelace, no? Shoelace?
It's up to you guys.
Maybe?
Guys, if not immediate, diba? So why not skip the other person, go back?
Airtime. The ball must have airtime. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left.
Yellow stripes, red, pink. Every 4.
20 seconds left, guys.
Lahat ng goals na siguro.
Okay, time's up. Time's up. Time's up. Okay. I would like you guys to give me an estimate of how many balls you think you can pass around. Okay? The group, please tell me how many balls do you think you can pass around in 2 minutes? In 2 minutes time, how many balls do you think you can pass around? You can ask anything. Yes. 2 balls? 2 balls, okay? Meron. Give me an estimate. 10 balls? 10? 10? 15?
We have another trial.
We have 5 trials. Okay? 10, 15. Okay. 5 guys? 5. Okay, let's agree on 5 so we can start. Anyway, it's just the first estimate. Okay? 5.
What's the substitute? Round 1. Like this? Shoelace? So I pass him, I will see the ball. It's there.
Consulis tayo. And babak.
So Separate yung...
You guys are cheating. Do stop learning, okay? Okay, let's start now. Okay, let's do your left. It's gone, don't spend time. It's fun. Okay, mga observers, please make sure that you're passing the ball through everyone. One minute left.
Dapat na yung may kasawin. Nakakawak eh.
Twenty seconds left. Five, four, three, two, one. Stop. Okay. Which balls ended up in the starting point again? Wala.
Zero.
Nothing happened. Okay. So for this round, zero. Your score is zero. Okay. Now I'm going to give you another minute. 1 minute to plan. My suggestion is you just stand who's throw out si Jan is originating. Just stand in and throw it. You can stand immediately to your right, okay?
Okay na.
That's okay. But you need to have a clear collection point. I'm not going to count balls that are strewn around the floor, okay? So you better prepare. 1 minute starts now for planning. Go.
Maybe we just go like this, don't switch, because it's confusing, just going straight.
These are the only rules I made, so you guys are free to self-organize.
So
Thirty seconds left in the planning time. 30 seconds left. Don't ask me questions. These are the rules, so you guys plan. Those are the rules. Okay, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Yeah, don't start yet. Okay, everybody ready? Ready? Oh, asan ang collection point? Okay. Stop quiet. Listen to me. How many balls do you think you can deliver this time? Okay, 3? You got for 3? Go. Okay, ready, set, go. Here's time.
Pero stop.
Ten, nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, stop. Haifa, our official ball counter. Congratulations. Our estimate was 3 balls. We delivered 4 balls. Okay. Can I ask you now to pick up the balls on the floor and put them back sa bag muna? Okay. Sino ulit ang starter? Alright. If you want to use this, I'm helping you guys now. Okay. So, 1 minute again to plan. Okay, improve your process. Go.
The forward, the capture, we need the maybe 2.
Airtime, it shouldn't be passed directly, so it should be floating in the air. Okay? That's our only rule, actually. I mean, these are the only rules. So if you need to innovate, you guys can innovate so long as it's within these rules.
Pero bakit creative distance? Paano kung malapit na
30 seconds left. Well, that's me. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop planning. Okay, now I need an estimate from the group. I need an estimate from the group, please. Estimate. How many balls? How many balls this time? Hello? Listen. Stop. How many ball points do you want to deliver this time? Do you intend? 9? You can go for 9? Listen group. 9 balls, 10 balls. 10? 10? 10 balls. Okay, 10 balls and 10 balls. Okay? So the group has committed to deliver 10 balls in 2 minutes. 2 minutes start now. Go.
This is not really good.
Their time. One minute left. 30 seconds left.
Parang naisip ko, function. Nagpapatulan rin.
Twenty.
20 volts na?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up! And our official ball counter, please, and pick up the balls and put them back to starting line. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 balls! 21 more points for the group. Then, one more round of applause. Okay, think again, 1 minute. Think about how to improve your process or your formation or whatever. Go. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left.
Hindi, mas konti yung tao. Ay, hindi. Dapat ano eh. Mas gusto ba yung feet?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ay, sorry, I forgot an estimate. Sorry. Estimate this time, estimate. 20 short, I think? 25? Okay, 25. Okay, restart natin, sorry.
25.
Go.
Tapos i-announce ko.
Don't bother. Don't bother with You're not? Individual. So depends on that. You have been banned from all of our events and our partners' events.
30 seconds. Sorry, 1 minute 30 seconds. One minute left. 1 minute left.
Ay, isa lang naman. Yung dalawa yun.
Thirty seconds left.
Bakit? Tawad siya?
20 seconds.
Okay, kasi pag yung supplier natin lang muna sa cover. Sorry,
Ten. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang. Told you need a bigger bag. Ay pa,
Ayan.
our official counter. Sayang, mga 10 yata or mga 7 balls. So, pag-isipan mo na. Please gather the balls. Or put it on a chair. So, you actually delivered 20 balls in the bag, but I'm going to be lenient. Yung mga na-spill, there was about 6 of them. So, I'm going to mark it as 26. The lesson here is ayusin niyo yung, yung quality ng inyong output. Okay? Diba? So, your connection point. Okay? 1 minute again to plan. This is the last round.
Maybe when everyone holds one goal and then the giver, the same guy the same guy. So maybe we fill out the queue. When the judge fill out the queue, and then after the queue is filled, then we switch role and change the giver. So it just and then again, after finish, after empty the queue, fill out the queue.
Then we have also
Two balls?
Yes. There are 10 that you have 2 balls.
Everyone actually, it could be everyone can hold 2 balls. So it could be
Time's up.
Baka mag-stock overflow.
Wait for my signal. Ready, set, go. Ay, sorry, estimate. Okay, sorry. Good. Estimate.
30.
40? 1. Okay, go. 1. 30. Okay, good estimate. Ready, set, go.
Ilang ito na lang po yung tumata.
You cost us millions.
Stop. If you have 2 balls, everyone have 2 balls, then stop.
Okay lang, dire-diretso lang. Yung mga dalawa na lang, stop na sila hanggang balik doon yung...
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time out. Now we have to count them. Our official ball counter is still busy. Go on. Can you please help si Haifa count the balls? Pakihand ka lang kay Haifa. Tapos count them aloud. Okay? Official count is 25. Please give back your balls.
No.
Please give your balls over to that bag. Okay. Okay, if you want to take a break, tea break, water break, let's take a 5-minute break just to catch our breath. If you find your balls, please put them in the bag. Okay? Dalawang pieces lang magpapasok. 2 pieces lang.
Oh, yun.
So those of you who are here, when you're catching your breath, please take a look at the debrief questions.
Kala ko pagkabata ko dito. Pipa ko. Brian, nakain mo na ba yung candy?
Oh, it's toffee.
Oo, tama. Toffee.
Toffee.
Yun yung tawag doon.
Candy that.
Pero ko specific na
Hindi,
brand.
may candy na
White
to.
rabbit.
Hindi. Matigas ng white rabbit. Yung brown yung ano? Brown ba or ano yung wrapper?
Wooders tsaka sisak lang.
Tig piso rin yun eh.
Oh, basta masarap yun. Yung ano yung sa ano. Meron yan. Yung square, di ba? Basta may maliit ako, lagi ko itong nakain. May pangalan ba yun? Parang pangalan ko siya tayo.
Oh, may brand din.
China yun. May formal yun. Brandless eh.
Baka may pa sa isang small pero malaki siya nakipag-merge, may nag-acquire.
Ay, oo. Parang,
Okay, back in the room, please. Just do the brief. Ano, kailangan. So maybe just move closer here. You don't have to arrange your chairs formally. Just approach it as a to the business area. Okay, nakakapagod na pag it got warmer. So let's answer those questions in the brief. What were your constraints? What were the constraints? There were two main suggestions. Okay. Ano pa? Constraints.
Parang pinatay ko.
No one was taking charge. No, there was no visible leader. Ano pa? How about the room? Parang ano, it was too crowded. Okay, what else?
We needed a bigger basket.
You needed a bigger basket. Okay.
Yung sa endpoint.
Alright, so you had a physical constraint. Okay, ano ba? The balls are slippery. Some of the balls were slippery. Different sizes of balls. Okay? It would have helped kung it was the same size so you could get used to it. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, which iteration felt best? Look at your score sheet. The first one, 0. Second one, you estimated 3, you got 4. Third one, 10, you got 21. You were consistently delivering more than your estimates. Okay? But which one of these rounds or iterations felt best for you? Rupert, the third one, number 3. How about the rest? Do you agree? Number 3? The third? The last was more organized, pero where did you feel yung initial difference? Third, ano? That's when you were finally experiencing rhythm. No? Okay, so why did you experience that rhythm in the third? What were the elements?
Better plan. Better plan.
Better planning? So weren't you planning at the start?
Yeah, we're planning, but we're better third.
So you got better and better. Okay. What else? Adjustments? What about adjustments? Who was saying? Richard. We were learning from the previous mistakes. What else? Communication. What about communication?
I think there was a combination between one-to-one communication that time,
Okay.
and also kind of you feel the rhythm.
There was a rhythm, right? There was a flow and communication. Right? Communication got better as we went through each iteration. Tama? Agree na? So communication. There was flow and rhythm. It got better and better. Why do you think was the flow or the rhythm getting better and better? Especially during the third. Better? Better strategy? Yes. Understanding what? So you've done it before, you were getting better at it. What else? So we learned from, you're just repeating what's written over here. What else? What else? Why did you have better flow? better chemistry. Chemistry or relationship, better. Do you understand what we mean by better chemistry? By this time, we've learned how each other will work. No? So you know where to throw the ball, whereas in the first one, you didn't know where to throw it, you didn't know where to expect it. No? So barely enough time for you guys to plan and to get to know each other better. Okay? By the third iteration, you had that knowledge now. You could work well now. Okay. What else? So far we have better planning, learning from previous mistakes, better communication, flow and rhythm, and better chemistry. Anything else? I don't know. Actually, improving the process. So better processes, which actually is related to the previous mistakes. Okay. So I was asking you guys. So I'm going to shift here now. So I need to ask you guys. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. These are based on my observations of how you were working. Okay? So, first, what were the innovations that you tried? Which ones do you think worked best? Okay? Can you give me some of those innovations? I observed some of you were introducing new elements, so better mention those.
I think for the last iteration, the fifth iteration, Brian decided to incorporate his own bag. So he collected the balls first, and then he gave the balls to Carlo as a sick gap. So he incorporated his own.
He collected his balls.
Yeah. He collected his balls in a line
conversation na to.
So actually, you were introducing the concept of batching. Batching. Okay. What else? Yeah.
The one who suggested our shoe.
And what?
He suggested our shoe.
Change the shape. And why were you suggesting that? Changing the shape. I'm pretty sure that's not it. What else?
Close to set up the limitation during the offer.
Correct.
But on the other hand, to optimize the structure so we can bring less faults on the way and better pipeline.
Yes, so you were responding to one quality problem actually. Because by the time it reached the other end of the room, it would involve a very long throw. Well, you could have also, parang you could have changed it into a messenger type. You could walk. In fact, we did that midway through. Did that?
Yeah.
Midway through, you could walk. But it was more efficient to do it on a shape because then naturally. Yes. So what do we call that? Process, action, and structure. Okay. Did I tell you guys what to do? Apart from the rules that I gave you. The rules that I gave you.
You were just keep counting on the seconds that were left.
I was just?
Keep counting on
I was just counting the time.
Yeah.
And I just gave you goals. And I kept on emphasizing it's up to you, okay, to organize your own process. Okay? I didn't care what process it took. Just keep to the goals. Task your left or right, airtime, start, zero. And you were able to do that. So you were able to adapt to that situation. And I have no idea what solution you guys would introduce. But what you introduced worked. Okay, and you got better, you will see that as the progression. Okay. The estimations, you mentioned. Estimations. What do you think was the purpose of the estimations?
Goal setting.
It was goal setting. It was something to try and achieve. Okay? Looking at it now, 0, 4, 21, 26,
think would round number 6 look like?
40, and number 7, how would it look like? Are you sure? 50, and then round 8?
Declining.
Declining. You're all tired, so it goes back to 10. Okay, what would you rather have? Okay, in the next round, it's 40, and then the next round is 50, and then it declines. That's option A. Option B, it goes to 50, and then it keeps steadily at 50. What would you rather have? Steady, rather than it goes up and then declines and goes up. Why would you prefer steady? It's sustainable and it's repeatable. It's consistent. You know that in the next round, you are going to deliver just 50 balls, and you will be able to deliver 50 balls. And it's less stress because now you have confidence that you can deliver 50 balls. Now you're wondering why am I emphasizing balls and ball points. I'll link that to our lesson mamaya, one of the values of Scrum. Okay? Okay, about quality. Okay, I started introducing the concept that you have to collect it at a specific space. Anything outside that will not be counted. Right? So how did that impact you guys? Especially the ones handling at the end. So it caused a bit of disruption, Kasi now I was imposing stricter quality measures. Diba? So now we have to become more purposeful, more intentional. Because what I noticed was you were just throwing the ball and some were actually dropping out. So you have to be more careful now. Okay? Also, in the first few rounds, especially in 1 and 2, you guys were very noisy. No? Did you notice? And then by the third, actually fourth and then fifth, it was just really just cueing, just calling, okay, listen to me, etc., etc. So there was this concept also of triggering, calling the attention of the person who needs your input. So that matters later on in managing your processes. Okay. So, Scrum is actually based in what we call lean principles. Lean thinking. So if you've heard about Six Sigma, those things, those are based on lean thinking. And the insights here are, we need to work in smaller batches, do frequent iterations, find your team rhythm, and using the iterations, learn from them so that we could do continuous improvement. That's another principle. Lean thinking and continuous improvement. Okay? So, what do these things convert to? They are based actually on how to develop high-performance teams. A Scrum is actually a high-performance team. It is tightly knit. It has a high level of collaboration and innovation and focus on the goal, on delivering the goal. In fact, what they say is that a high-performance team or a Scrum team should be able to deliver the output no matter what obstacles they encounter. If you can capitalize on your team's strengths, you are going to surmount any goal. You are going to solve any problem. Do you agree with that? Nobody's convinced. Okay. In fact, one of the bases of Scrum and Agile is called the Toyota Production System. Are you familiar with the Toyota Production System? After the war, Japan was it was devastated by war, and the world's United States wasn't. So the world started to recover. US was already poised as the leader in car manufacturing. Companies like GM and Dodge and Ford. And then Japan, particularly Toyota, started catching up. It introduced the Toyota Production System, which is based in lean principles. And it said one of the guys who started the Toyota production system said the strength of the Toyota system is actually in making average people do extraordinary things. Note the phrasing. A team with a system that can make an average group of people perform extraordinary things. In fact, a high-performance team of average people can outperform a single expert working alone. But no matter how good you are as a programmer, if you're working alone, a team of average programmers will actually beat you. Now you agree, right? Because one programmer working alone will eventually tire out, no? Must sleep, but a team can actually alternate. So they could deliver more. Right? One programmer doing all the work is limited to what he knows. While two programmers, the classic line, two heads are better than one. Because now you're capitalizing on the knowledge of two people. But we should learn to collaborate. Otherwise, they're not working together. It reminds me, have you seen the movie Pacific Rim? Alright, okay. I won't give it up to you guys, but you already saw you already saw the trailer. It takes two people to run a robot. And if they're not in sync with each other, parang extreme programming, if they're not in sync with each other, they're not going to control the robot. Okay? That's what we meant by tight limits. The team should be able to have tight bonding. What does this mean? First, you have to know each other's talents and skills. And then you have to be able to complement them. So when somebody has a limitation, is a bit weak on this, like say, very good at user interface programming, but doesn't know database programming. Okay? And you are better at databases, then teach that person how to do it, or help that person do it, or doing it side by side with that person, so he also or she learns that skill. Agile and Scrum is also big on stepping out of your comfort zone. What does that mean? If I'm an expert in database, I will encourage you to also learn other skills, probably testing, or probably user interface programming, Ajax and JavaScripting. So that what happens then? If our user interface programmer is sick, I can actually just for one day step to that person's shoes and then perform that role. It's really just to be able to cover each other. I'm not asking you to be experts in two things. It's really just to be able to do enough so that the team can move on despite the setbacks. So, tight limit. Next, high levels of collaboration and innovation. So I've discussed being able to cover for each other. Very important, frequent interaction. In fact, there's this, if you are familiar with the Agile Manifesto, they want face-to-face interactions over processes and tools. I have a slide, I'll show that to you mamaya. The emphasis on face-to-face interaction is based on experience. Raise your hand if you've had an argument over email, or text. Kayo, the rest, no? Who hasn't had an argument over email here? Or bulletin boards, yung mga flame wars? Or why does that happen? Like over SMS or no? Why is it very open to misinterpretation what you're writing? Yes, so textful message is blind to emotions. You don't know that the person is just kidding. Or maybe he just writes that way, It's very normal for that person, but you misinterpret it. You think that they're angry or making fun of you. So it's better to do it face-to-face. The other thing that you gain face-to-face is instant feedback. That person can say, no, I was just kidding, I wasn't, yeah. And you can resolve differences more quickly than if you were firing a ping-pong of email messages back and forth. So why don't you just sit down, meet face-to-face, and then discuss? Yeah. So that's collaboration. There's also regular introspection and continuous improvement. These were the point of the 1 minute planning time that I was giving you. And then I was asking you, you guys plan on how to improve, how to get better at this. But I didn't tell you, to get better at this, you have to do this, do this, do this. I just told you, get better at this every iteration. I'll give you 1 minute. And you were able to innovate based on your own experience. Okay. And last, highly focused on a goal. So a Scrum team is committed to delivering the goal and should be able to surmount any obstacle to achieve that goal. If someone is sick, you guys should self-organize to make up for that person. Someone is new, someone resigned, there's a new one replacing that person, self-organize. How would you speed the learning curve of that person so you don't have to sacrifice your whole team? Am I making sense so far? Okay, so these are the principles that are the basis for Scrum. I'm going to now. So just to summarize, self-organizing teams or high-performance teams or a Scrum team is tightly knit. It is empowered to make decisions, to improve their own processes and the ways they work. And they deliver a common goal, a shared goal. Everybody should actually be working towards that goal. In our game, what was the goal? To collect the balls and pass them around to everyone until they go back to the starting point. That was our goal. So you guys work together, improve your whole process so that you could collect as many balls as you needed, as many points. And can surmount any obstacles or any problems no matter what. And you demonstrated that. I told you just improve. So look at the improvement from 0 to 35. It's a lot. Yeah, you got better at it. So, going back to Amazing Race, Group Tour, or traditional project management, Scrum or Agile, we learned that there are certain types of activities or projects that are more appropriate to project management, traditional. Right? And there are certain types of activities that don't work in traditional project management. When software development it became more popular, especially during the war, the first software engineers didn't have any previous basis on how to manage a software development project. They only had one model. This was the traditional project management model, which was based from construction. When you're constructing a building, okay, a window is a window, a door is a door, a wall is a wall. You already know these concrete things, and when you say, I need a wall, the customer says, I need a wall, the architect and the contractor will know what a wall is. But in software development, there are a lot of things that are fuzzy or vague. So the level of uncertainty is actually higher. So there's more unknown. So here, this is a scale where the x-axis is about requirements, the certainty of requirements, and the certainty of technology. And as you guys all know, every year there's a new technology coming out. And you guys have to adjust to learn to that. Even your programming language, it gets updated and updated. And then there's a new language that comes out, there's a new gadget that comes out with its own development platform. So the level of anarchy is actually higher in software development compared to construction. That's why there was a big need to develop something more responsive to software development rather than traditional project management. I'll give you a statistic. Let me just switch slides. I'll show this statistic and then I think snacks are ready so I can let you have mamaya. Gotcha. Okay, the Standish report. Have you seen this report? We studied this in school as a Standish report. Okay, let's familiarize ourselves with it. The Standish report is actually a study made in the mid-90s when software development was actually climbing, becoming more popular. And project managers realized, software engineers all over the world realized that the traditional way of project management was no longer working. So they made this survey of big companies doing software projects, and they asked them, of all of the projects that you are, it's a bit subjective, okay? So they just asked the CIOs and the project managers, of all the software projects you are handling, how many are successful, meaning delivered on budget, on time, and in scope? How many are challenged, meaning they're now delayed, or the features, the scope has changed, or the budget is now bloated? Or failed, meaning they had to stop the project because they weren't able to deliver. And in 1994, the first survey, only 16% were categorized as successful, 31% were challenged, and 53 were failed, almost half. Very, very shocking actually when they discovered this. This meant that the traditional project management methodology was not working. In 94 or 95, if I'm not mistaken, a band of software engineers went to this conference and started talking about the failure of project management. And they discovered that many of them were experimenting on a new way or alternative ways. And they collectively called this the agile approach. So they came up with this manifesto. And you can find it in this agilemanifesto.org. We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others to do it. To do this work, we have come to value the following. Okay? Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. This is what I was emphasizing earlier. Prefer face-to-face interactions rather than using a Gantt chart. Okay? Or using a contract. I've had several projects where when a customer needs to change, has a change requirement, they will talk to their lawyer. And the lawyers will talk to the lawyers of the software development company. So how can lawyers define software requirements? They're not qualified to do it. And yet they're talking to define the software requirements. And you waste more time. Right? So that approach isn't working. What's better actually is to bring the individuals together and to talk. Okay? Enough of charts, enough of flow charts, and enough of software requirements documentation. Let's use that time and effort to instead agree on what the software should be. Here's the other one, working software over comprehensive documentation. We are not saying we should eliminate these. Okay? What we're saying is, let's use our effort to deliver working software rather than documentation. One of the pioneers of Scrum, Sipas, he was saying, why are we so obsessed with the Gantt chart, with the project plan? It's just a plan. And in traditional project management, we actually spend so much effort and time and money to keep the plan going, when in fact we already know that the plan is no longer working. Okay? And I said, making a Gantt chart is like hiring Madame Maureen and asking Madame Maureen, can you predict what this software will look like? And she will say, okay, this software will have feature A, feature B, feature C, feature D. And then when we start working on feature A, we discover everything else is wrong. But we say, but this is the plan. You should stick to it. Okay? What happens if you stick to the plan? What do you deliver when you stick to the plan? You deliver something that's according to plan, but it's no longer relevant. Okay? So how do we solve that in Agile? The plan, this one big planning effort, we break it down and program it into each of the sprints, each of the iterations. So it's not true that Agile doesn't have planning or doesn't prioritize or give value to planning. In fact, Scrum is actually more involved with planning because every time you start an iteration, you're doing planning. And then when you start again, you're re-examining that first plan and then improving on it. We just broke it down and programmed it into each of the iterations instead of wasting effort. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation, I've already told you about that. Instead of negotiating from a legal perspective, let's sit down and talk to the customer. You will experience this benefit to the customer actually. They will be happier because the focus of Agile is to embrace change, which is actually the next value. You become more responsive to the customer and the customer becomes happier. And tayo as developers will also be more satisfied because we could see that what we're producing is up to the customer's specs. Right? It makes sense. So, final line. While there is value in the items on the right, these guys, we actually value more items on the left. Okay? Any questions on the Agile Manifesto and the values of Agile? Yes.
Who are the one that really that or
Who are the guys to go in? Game. You know some of them. Mamaya, okay. I think we need to eat snack and then we will record. No, I was asking the OND guys because they revere those people. So, di ba? Si Mark Cunningham. Sige, mamaya. So, questions pa before we can we go to our snack. There are several actually, pero parang may a couple of pioneers who define this. Yes.
how is the deadline affected by?
Good question. How is the deadline affected by an agile method? It's a concept called time boxing. I'll explain it after the break. So hang on to that.
Is there like a script that is really
Is there a sprint that is too big? That's also a good question. I will talk about sprint size now. Sorry, I asked you a question today and I'm answering them. A sprint should have a regular duration and you don't change the duration of that sprint. Every sprint should have the same duration. So let's say, if your team decides 1 week or 2 weeks, all of the sprints should be 2 weeks. You don't change it. Now, what you change is the features that you develop per sprint. And that's the point of the estimates. When you get better and better at the estimates, diba, you know what to put into the sprint. You know the cut over line, yung cut off mark, diba? You can say, every sprint we are delivering 35 points. Diba? And then in Scrum kasi it's built into it when you look at the features, aka the user stories, the team will actually estimate the story points or the number of points of one feature. I'll explain size estimates very quickly mamaya. They're not actually estimates of hours. They are estimates of size, which is a combination of complexity, effort, and time. Okay? It's a bit difficult to grasp if you're coming from traditional, but we will explore that in a while. The point here is, when you have this estimate and you know consistently you can deliver it, right away we call it team velocity. So we would say 35 is our velocity. And then every sprint you outline which user stories you want to develop. Actually the product owner will do that, your client. You assign points per user story, and then you total them, and then see whether they match your velocity and say, okay, they are within our velocity, I think we can deliver them within this. But more on that later. One more question before we take a break. Okay, so yung mga may utang akong questions, and then raise them mamaya ulit, when you think it's already relevant to raise that question, so that I can answer it again. Okay, so let's take a break and come back after 15 or 20 minutes.